Hello all, please take out your notebooks and let's jot down some quick notes. So today we're going to be starting our new unit, Unit 5, which is all about inequalities. So today we're going to be talking about graphing inequalities in one variable, so just an x or just a y or just an r, one variable. I want to remind you that if at any point I'm going too fast, you're welcome to pause, jot some notes down. You could always rewind, etc. So graphing inequalities in one variable. The first thing you need to do is you need to isolate the variable, just like when we're solving for x. A couple things that make solving inequalities different is that you want your variable to always be on the left side of your inequality. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you need to flip the inequality sign. So those are the two things that make solving inequalities a little bit different than equalities. And then finally, since our answer is not going to be one number, it's going to be a whole set of numbers, to correctly express our solution, we express it graphically. So to graph the solution, it's all about the sign. So if our sign is greater than, it looks like greater than. It looks like that. When we graph it, we'll have an open circle. So like this, on the number, and then the solution is everything to the right of that number. If we have a greater, or if we see this sign here, that is greater than or equal to. And if that's the case, we'll have a filled in circle on the number, and the solution's everything to the right as well as that number. So we'll have a filled in circle above our number, and then the solution's everything to the right as well as the number itself. If we see this sign, that's our less than sign, and we'll have an open circle, and our solution will be everything to the left, everything that's smaller than that number. And if you see this sign, that means less than or equal to, so we will have a filled in circle because our answer is part of, or our number is part of the solution, and everything less than that, so everything to the left. So let's actually do a few examples. So go ahead, turn to your in-class note packet and turn to notes number 1. We're going to do these together. So our first one is x is less than or equal to 5. Already isolated. X is the only thing on the left side, and it's on the left side, the side that we want it to be on. So I'm going to graph that. 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And since it's less than or equal to, I'm going to want a filled in circle and everything to the left is part of my solution. So filled in circle at 5 and everything to the left. So that is my solution for x is less than or equal to 5. For number 2, p is greater than 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to have an open circle since it's not including 3, and my arrow is going to go to the right because my solution is everything greater than 3. 6 is less than m. So remember, our variable has to be on the left side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this entire inequality and I'm going to flip the entire thing around. So if 6 is less than m, that means that m is greater than 6. Or as my teacher taught me back when I was a kid, if Miss Pac-Man is eating the m, then when you flip it around, Miss Pac-Man better still be eating the m. So we go to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Open circle because m is greater than 6, so not including 6, and we'll have an arrow to the right. Number 4, we want to isolate the x first. Notice there's a negative in front of it. That means it's really negative 1x. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. And that is one of those special cases that I need to flip my inequality sign. So I'm going to go ahead and graph 0, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am going to have a filled in circle because x is greater than or equal to negative 8. And my arrow is going to go to the right because my solution's everything including negative 8 and larger. Number 5, I need to isolate the y before I can graph my solution. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. I get 2y is less than 12. Divide both sides by 2. And we get y is less than 6. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Open circle on 6 because it's just less than, so 6 is not part of my solution, and everything to the left because I want less than 6. Problem number 6, I want to distribute that 3. So I get 9 is greater than or equal to 3x plus 6. Subtract 6 on both sides, and I get 3 is greater than or equal to 3x. Divide both sides by 3, and we get 1 is greater than or equal to x. And again, I'm going to need to take that whole inequality, turn it around, so I get x is less than or equal to 1. And let's just double check. Miss Pac-Man's eating the 1, and when I flipped it, Miss Pac-Man's still eating the 1. So we're good. So 0, 1, filled in circle because x is less than or equal to 1, and everything to the left. All right, number 7, we have variables on both sides. Since we always want x to be on the left, I'm going to always move my x's to the left. So now on the left side, I have 6 plus 5x is less than or equal to 1. And now I'm going to get rid of that positive 6 by subtracting 6 on both sides. So I get 5x is less than or equal to negative 5. Divide both sides by 5, and we get x is less than or equal to negative 1. And keep in mind, I did not divide by a negative number. I divided by a positive number. So even though it's less than or equal to a negative, I'm not going to flip my sign because I divided by a positive 5. So graph negative 1, filled in circle because x is less than or equal to negative 1, and my arrow points to the left because it's everything less than or equal to negative 1. Number 8, subtract 5 on both sides. So we get negative 1x is greater than negative 1, and now I'm dividing by negative 1. So since I divided by a negative, I need to flip my inequality sign. So I get x is less than positive 1. So I go ahead and graph positive 1. Open circle because it's just less than, not less than or equal to. And my arrow goes to the left because it's everything that's less than or 1. All right, number 9. Same steps as solving. I want to distribute first. So I get 9 minus 3x on my left side. On my right side, I have negative 5x plus 10. And I'm going to want to add the 5x over to the left. Because again, I always want my x to be on the left side of my inequality. So now on my left side, I get 9 plus 2x is greater than 10. Subtract 9 on both sides, and we get 2x is greater than 1. Divide by 2, and I get x is greater than 1/2. And again, I'm dividing by a positive, so I don't need to flip the sign. So I go ahead and graph. So 1/2 is right in between 0 and 1. So I'm going to have an open circle at 1/2, and it's greater than, so arrow to the right. Number 10, variables on both sides, so I'm going to get rid of the 4x on the right side. So now I have negative 2x minus 3 on the left side is greater than or equal to negative 1. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So I get negative 2x is greater than or equal to 2. Divide both sides by negative 2. So we get x is less than or equal to negative 1. I have to flip the sign since I divided by negative. So I have 0, negative 1, filled in circle on negative 1 since it's less than or equal to, an arrow to the left. 11. Distribute the negative 7. I get negative 14b minus 42 is greater than or equal to negative 140. Add 42 to both sides. Whoa. And we get negative 14b is greater than or equal to negative 98. Divide both sides by negative 14. And we get b is, since I divided by a negative, I'm going to have to flip that sign. So less than or equal to, let's see, negative 98 divided by negative 14 gives us a positive 7. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Filled in circle because it's less than or equal to, and to the left since it's less than or equal to. Number 12, I'm going to distribute the negative 3, and I get negative 12k minus 3. Combine like terms, and that gives me negative 19k minus 3. I'm going to add my 19k over to the left side. This is a way around having to flip the whole thing when it's all said and done. Add 155 to both sides. And then divide both sides by 19. And we get k is greater than or equal to, let's see, that goes in 8 times. So 0, I'm going to go by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8. And filled in circle because it's greater than or equal to, and then arrow to the right because it's greater than or equal to 8. 2 more, and then you'll have the rest of the period to work on your homework. All right, number 13. Negative 2 plus, let's distribute that 2, so we get 6 plus 6x is greater than, let's distribute that 2, 18x minus 20. Combine like terms, so I get 4 plus 6x is greater than 18x minus 20. Subtract 6x. Oh, what am I doing? Erase. We did not want to do that. And sorry, we always want our variable on the left side. So I'm going to subtract 18x. So I get 4 minus 12x is greater than negative 20. Subtract 4. So I get negative 12x is greater than negative 24. And then divide both sides by negative 12. And we get x is less than positive 2 because I divided by a negative 12. So I needed to flip my inequality sign. So I graph 0, 1, 2, open circle on 2 because it's less than, and then an arrow to the left because it's less than. And finally, number 14. I want to distribute that 12, so I get 12x plus 24 plus 5x is greater than, I want to distribute that 3, so I get 3x plus 24. Combine my like terms, so that's 17x plus 24. Oh my gosh. Okay. Plus 24 is greater than 3x plus 24. I want my variable on the left, so I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides. So that gives me 14x plus 24 is greater than 24. Subtract 24 on both sides. So that gives me 14x is greater than 0. Divide by 14. So we get x is greater than 0. And since I divided by a positive, no need to flip anything. So that's where 0 is. Put a 1 and a negative 1. Open circle on 0 since it's just greater than, and arrow to the right since it's greater than. All right, so now that you have all of your notes complete, please show the substitute. Your filled in notes. And you have the rest of the period to work on homework. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.